Welcome to Rad2, another daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. What's something your employer did that instantly killed employee morale? I hope senior guy's family sued the absolute frick out of the company. Imagine driving a guy to suicide because he asked for a raise. Edit. Gee, maybe I'll get the point if another 20 people tell me I didn't understand something correctly. Holy crap. If you live in a at-will state, you can be fired for literally no reason at all, which is pretty much every state. en.m.wikipedia.org. Edit. Clarification and link. Couldn't you just say, because we don't want you anymore, instead of saying, because you're a Jewish lesbian woman of color with depression disorder? Quote. If they aren't dumb enough not to see Boeing when it wanted to move 787 production from Washington to South Carolina because it is a right-to-work state, the one thing they couldn't say is they are moving production because of the unions. They could have given a million bullcrap reasons, but they came out and said it's because of the unions and work stoppages, so the NLRB steps in and it becomes a giant crap show. Who spent the entire lunch ranting about how all taxation is theft and how our support for Israel was stupid, that if the Jews wanted to run around in the desert we should just give them Arizona. Sounds like you met a Redditor in real life. How is that allowed? It's your break, they can't force you to do anything on your break, and they legally know, but they can make it a cell phone free area. Edit to add. While I am not certain about suppression of signals to be illegal, they can make it a condition upon entry to a controlled area, handover, lockup, leave somewhere secure before entry. They can't control what you do at home, surely? Firefighters are not supposed to smoke. It's too difficult to differentiate between work-associated disease and damage from smoking. Can they test for that at all? I feel like most every firefighter I ever met is some kind of smoker. No raises or bonuses this year due to company performance, but I will make it up to you by taking the whole company to the lake for a trip on my new 30-feet boat. Our company policy in my position is if you are the top performer you get a 1.5% raise, which doesn't even keep up with inflation or cost of living increases. Most people get nothing. Our senior managers always get asked about this and they always say, oh, we would love to give you more, but it is not up to us, it is decided by the compensation board. Our CEO got a 36% raise. Business had been running for 3 years and many of the employees had been there from the beginning without getting a pay rise. After some requests, the company announced that there would be a review of everyone's pay, called in each worker to discuss. Basically, they had decided to pay every employee the same amount. This meant that a few got a raise, most stayed the same, and some, who had negotiated better at hiring, had their wages reduced. Needless to say, most employees were unhappy. 2 weeks later, the three brothers who owned the business bought themselves 2 new cars and a second-hand Rolls-Royce. That was a real slap in the face. She also banned everyone from coming into the workplace when they were not working. I guess she didn't like money. Then might have cleaned out the employees as well. Probably the plan there, less stuff to pack, clean up if anything when they fire the employees or go under. Everything labeled. I should never be entrusted with a label maker. I will label all the things. A manager once explained it to me, everything needs to be organized, labeled, and free of clutter. That way if you're replaced the next person can take over without missing a step. She was replaced the next day. The irony wasn't lost on me. My work would give you a crappy generic old keyboard and mouse, and tell you to go buy whatever keyboard and mouse you like wherever you like. Get invoice for the firm and you'll be refunded in full. Only limitation was no fancy gaming stuff. Nobody wants to feel like a drone in an endless maze of the same grey cubicles. Might as well be. I don't work there anymore, thankfully, but in the 2 years I worked there it felt like I was volunteering myself to go to jail for 12 hours a day. They wouldn't let us have phones in the facility, so lunch breaks were just silence, staring at the TV that had MSNBC non-stop without audio. Harris and blank. As bright-eyed teenagers. Someday we are going to be famous businessmen. Our names will go down in history. Quote. To cut costs, they started a policy that only certain departments had internet access. It basically started a class system that bred resentment across departments, and caused an exodus from the non-internet teams. The internet. I have heard tales told of this precious and rare commodity. But if you ask me, they're just legends made up to pass the time and fill the children with awe and wonder. I hear tell they got some out California way. What departments were deemed unworthy? And the value of his company nosedives. Everyone wins. Yes, because batteries are much cheaper than wall electricity, which is why they don't make rechargeable batteries. What a donkey. He now runs a company of 3 people. Try working in IT. That attitude is just the standard state of being. It's a job where if you work absolutely perfectly, you're totally invisible and only appear on the radar when something freaks up. Just a few weeks ago we did a major office move. My department worked back-to-back 12 to 18-hour days to get everything moved over, which we managed with less half a day's downtime. And we were moving the company's main data center by the end of the final weekend after carrying 30-plus servers, plus cabs, up 4 stories, recabling 200-plus desks and literally moving trucks worth of gear. I got home and my legs just wouldn't work anymore. I still have the blisters on my feet from walking about 30 miles in 2 days. And I was still at my desk at 7 a.m. the next day to run around the office fixing teething issues. Then, a few days ago, the country chief got the whole office together to thank everyone for their hard work. He had a stack of envelopes with thank you card £50 vouchers in them. Everyone who volunteered to help with the move got one, including the people who volunteered to have an early snoop around the new office. Spent 30 minutes on site and did precisely frick all. You know who didn't get a mention or an envelope? Anyone in IT. The people who were there working unpaid overtime until 2 a.m. for weeks. Together, we bargain. Divided, we beg. Old union saying. We were once in the middle of a very stressful period of work, and everyone was feeling it. However, one afternoon, an offhand comment turned into a conversation that we all got involved with and led to a few laughs. My manager, returning from a meeting, piped up, "Oh, we finished tomorrow's work. Have we? What's all this about?" Insert subject matter. Quote, entire team instantly deflated. Unnecessary. Every employee needs time to blow off a little steam. I mean, on the one hand, I understand that corporations want to treat people like robots and get their most work out of them at the smallest expense. But on the other hand, why don't they understand that happy workers makes for better productivity? I bet that day everyone's work was half-assed. Upper management seems to get this, but they are going to use cheap and creative ways to boost morale. They'll create a culture, but won't pay or reduce productive time. Middle management is filled with undereducated, poorly socialized individuals with fiery demeanor. They also are hit with high demands by upper management but are too poorly educated in how to manage that they just try to whip employees into productivity. It's been demonstrated for over a century that happy workers are equally or more productive than overworked, unhappy workers. They banned staff from drinking coffee in front of students. What the hell was their logic on that? Removed COLA raises each year for all employees and implemented a raise when promoted or take on more responsibility model. However, promotions are very rare and raises are never approved. So everyone is losing money to inflation each year, and they tried to sell it as a big W-in for the employees. We aren't stupid people. I've yet to work for a company that gives COLA raises, which is why I only stayed for 3 to 4 years, because getting promoted always has a cap on how much of a raise you get. Usually the responsibility outweighs the increase in salary. So why stay when I can go to the competitor and there is no cap because they have to have competitive salary to attract people? So stupid. There's no benefit to being loyal anymore. I think it would be funny to hand in your 2-week notice alongside with resume and cover letter for exactly the same position, with perks written in. 3-year experience in this exact position. Only request readjusted salary on the interview. Oh, and if asked why you left your previous job, my employer refused to adjust salary for inflation. I put in my 2 weeks notice at my workplace today. I asked for a raise and got told I couldn't be given one because I wasn't being given a promotion. And it wasn't time for my yearly review yet. What you discussed is exactly what I'm considering doing. Employer: why'd you apply here? Didn't you quit last week? Me: yeah, it was a shame the store policy kept you from giving me a raise. Employer: right, so how much are you wanting? Me: my old wage plus a reasonable and fair raise. Afraid I'll eventually lose the one guy working under me. They made me a supervisor of one person. Then they told me after I accepted the minimal supervisor position that his salary is capped. He is no longer allowed to have raises. I have to give this guy his yearly review and tell him, sorry, no raise. I think I was made his supervisor just so my supervisor no longer had to tell him, sorry, no raise. You should tell that guy he's capped. Letting him think a raise is possible when there's absolutely no chance is a gigantic dick move from your company. I told him already. He knows. X probably made the least mistakes. You can't do things wrong if you do nothing. Yeah, he was laughing slightly as all our eyes widened in shock. When I was active duty, I would tell my junior guys the effect of the following. I don't ask 110% of you, because that's both mathematically and physically impossible. I only ask for a little more than half butt effort. A 3/4 asked effort at most, that is enough to succeed in military and life in general, cause everyone is lazy and dumb. My father gave me similar advice. He told me to never give more than 80% because nobody will ever notice or reward you for your efforts. And that's all you need to do, more than most people do. It's not. AutoZone did this to a woman a few years ago and she sued and settled for like 18 million if memory serves. It was part of the reason they didn't give us a raise that year because of unforeseen labor costs. According to the memo. Labor costs: I see what you did there. She started having complications with her pregnancy and kept going to the doctor. She'd call out and many of us would answer the phone when she'd call, but management stopped recording her calls so she'd get marked as no call, no show. She tried disputing it, but it didn't work. Damn, that has lawsuit written all over it. My wife was let go after she announced her pregnancy to her manager. And approximately when she would need maternity leave, she was told that they'd rather replace her than deal with a pregnant employee and all that goes with that. A well-worded letter from our attorney got her 1 year's severance and 2 years medical coverage for her and the baby. For real, there is a list of like a dozen things that you aren't allowed to fire people for, and literally anything else is fair game. He could have fired her for eyeballing him across the room, or for wasting oxygen, or because he suspected she might be a grey alien. As long as they don't specifically say that it's because she's a woman, black, pregnant, old, French, there would be no problem. Welcome to the new norm. My wife's company does this and it's freaking awful. We got an email from HR a few weeks ago that for July and August, during our Summer of Fun event, we could wear shorts to the office. I've been wearing shorts for 8 years and had no idea we were not supposed to. Legend has it an ex-employee here started dressing as a pirate in an attempt to get fired. Apparently it finally worked when a client complained about the pirate man swinging his foam sword around the lobby singing sea shanties, and he was fired the next day with severance. Foam swords and 2 weeks worth of pay seems like a good way to go. They ban phones at my work contact center, and any device with a camera, as I work in government with public info. I now set up a Nintendo Switch and rock Mario Kart or Zelda between calls, as there is no camera, no way to connect to a browser, and no voice recording. I'd call it a bit of malicious compliance in a way. Told a bunch of people they were going to be promoted to get us to do extra work. No one got promoted. I basically did her job for a month. Me and 3 of my co-workers quit and she got fired a few months later. So true. The idiotic pee in the corner and make this place mine is an enormous red flag. It's like the crappy boss calling card. A grocery store I worked at for just about 4 weeks or so in 2000 did that. The manager, who primarily employed high school seniors like myself, would state, your employer is your #1 priority. You work for them, not the other way around. I don't care about whatever teenager, high school things you have going on. If you can't work the shifts I want you to, I don't want you to work for me. Only job I straight up walked out on after he told me I couldn't get off for my own graduation. I'm glad your company actually paid attention to the survey results. I worked for one company that always had the same facilitator put together employee surveys. Conveniently, every question he writes is biased. Think on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you love less than XYZ aspect of company greater than? In addition, the raw results are never given directly to management for review. Only the summary the facilitator puts together. Apparently the survey results are always fantastic. Put up a poster that said, complaining is like vomiting. You feel better but everyone around you feels sick. The morale was already bad but it was just a crappy way to take a hit at upset employees rather than do anything positive. Complaining is like vomiting. Something caused it to happen, and it's best to figure out why and change it so it doesn't happen again. Was working for EB Games when GameStop bought them. 20% of any warranty, and $1 for every subscription sold went into your paycheck as commission. And you'd never feel dirty selling the things. Because Edge Magazine, EB's answer to Game Informer, and their extended warranties were legit and fairly priced. GameStop buys the company. First thing they do, nix the commissions. You still have to sell the stuff. Of course, I'll never forget the first meeting I had with GameStop as a manager. They really drilled how profitable those things are to the company. Soon after came the threats of reduced hours if you didn't hit quotas. Mandated by corporate. Yeah, frick GameStop. Edit. And my top post of all time is me saying frick GameStop. I am amused. Is that generally true for GameStop? If the employees don't get commission I probably won't buy anything there again. I just assumed that they did considering how hard they push to get you to buy or pre-order random things. Edit. After hearing all the stories about how they threaten their employees for not pushing junk, I think I definitely won't be supporting GameStop anymore. They got rid of their night cleaning crew the week after I started and we had to learn how to clean the whole department on our own before close. I work in a meat department so this meant taking apart and cleaning 2 meat grinders and a bandsaw that were covered with meat tube. Almost the whole department quit because of this, but I stuck around and got the hang of it. After about 3 months though they hired the cleaning crew back. Now closing is a breeze. Edit. Yes, I'm aware most meat departments don't have a cleaning crew. I worked in security for a whole week, and that's as long as I could tolerate it. They didn't give us breaks, and the only time we got to sit down was on lunch. And even then we had to be available and put people through the metal detectors coming in and out. It was awful. Sounds illegal in addition to being awful. Thanks for watching Rad 2. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out the original Rad channel.